All right, welcome to Wake Up. Welcome to Wake Up, everybody. Larry Krueger, Damon Bruce. The Niners gagged badly against the Cardinals. We'll talk about the carnage next.
Wake up, wake up. Damon Bruce, Larry Krueger. We are brought to you by Sam's Chowder House, and everybody could use a little lobster roll or a bowl of chowder. I know the weather doesn't scream, put some hot chowder in me, but man, it's always a good idea to get to Sam's, and we'll show you why. A little bit later, Larry, the airing of grievances should begin right here, right now. That was a bad loss for the 49ers to take. It feels like they sort of lost their own plot on the way to it. A terrible second half of football. And Arizona, I mean, we warned you. They always come and save one of their best punches they'll throw all year for the 49ers. They threw it yesterday, and the 49ers lose. Let me tell you who I feel bad for. 49er fans who are Cal alums. Two brutal beats, both by 1 point, Larry. Ouch.
Cam Ward, baby.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Welcome to Wake Up. Brought to you by Sam's Chowder House. And let's just go right into it here, Larry, because I wrote down before the game began, no special teams mistakes, and you don't let James Conner go nuts, you probably win this game. Well, two special teams mistakes, one glorious special teams moment, which, provided some scoring, but an incomplete special teams picture. James Conner has a great second half. And the 49ers got overly aggressive when they shouldn't, and they got way too conservative when they should have been more aggressive. And I think that's the thumbnail sketch we begin with this morning. Good morning, Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to hear anything about the kicker, okay? I don't want to hear about Jake Moody because, yeah, you lost Jake Moody, but so what? You've got the freaking Arizona Cardinals at home. That is a thoroughly winnable game. You should have beaten the Cardinals, a team that you've owned, at home. And how many more 10-point fourth quarter leads can you blow before suddenly people are like, what the fuck is going on? Mike Silver in the Chronicle, something is off about the 49ers, and it isn't just losing to the Cardinals that, quote, feels weird. And I would agree, but there's nowhere to hide here. The Washington Commanders offense scored 42 points on this Arizona defense last week. All right. The 49er offense scored 16 points off that same defense and were shut out at home in the second half. You can't turn it over the way they turned it over. There's just a lack of focus, a lack of attention to detail. Everybody, they're awful in the red zone. They couldn't, Nick Sorensen's defense is a joke. They're bad on all three levels. I mean, you hold James Conner down in the first half, and then you let him go for 6 yards a carry in the second half. Oh, my God. I mean, Washington ran for 216 on this Arizona defense, and the Niners show no real interest in giving the ball to Jordan Mason. He was like, what do you have, 14 carries? Tim Ryan said in the pregame he's going to get 20. He didn't get anywhere close to fucking 20. And then 1 for 6 in the red zone. Oh, my God. I mean, last year they were the best team in the NFL in the red zone, and now they're 1 for 6. They're mid-pack. And then Kyle Shanahan, I mean, what are you doing going for a field goal? You're down on the goal line in the second quarter. And, I mean, I got to get the sequence right because this is just so maddening. I went through and watched this game again last night, and it just got more and more pissed off watching this thing. So they're down in the first. They get, Kyler goes for 50, untouched. Nick Sorensen, untouched.
Well, they targeted Devondre Campbell like everyone in the NFL does, and they run right at him, Larry.
Devondre Campbell, please leave.
Field. Get him
please.
Off the field.
You got to go. I don't know where you got to go, but it ain't up in here. He's got to go. They got to take him off the field. So he goes untouched. They're down 7-0. Then they kick the field goal at 7-3. Okay. Then they get the stop and on the next series, and the Niners drive all the way down, long drive, 13-play drive. Purdy with the slant to Kittle, 10-7 Niners. 13 plays, 76 yards. They're back on top. Then Arizona goes 10 plays of their own and ties the game with a field goal. It's 10-10. Okay, so it's 10-10. The Niners get the ball back on their own 30. This is their fourth offensive drive. This drive started off with Mason with a 34-yard run, Damon, on 2nd and 10, right? So that was a big play.
Came alive.
Right. Then on a 3rd and 11, it was 3rd and 1, but Jake Brendel had a holding penalty. So a 3rd and 11, Purdy finds Aiyuk, again, who beat Sean Murphy Bunting for 17. First down at the 20-yard line of Arizona. Okay, so they're moving the ball down. They get inside the red zone. They tried the bootleg pass. It didn't work. They get on 3rd down. On 2nd down, Purdy bootleg pass to Kittle for 4 yards. 2nd and goal from the 5. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 1. You've got JP Mason. He's averaging 6 yards a pop today. Instead, they pass. Purdy scrambles and throws it away. Okay, that's no problem. That's what you wanted to do. You didn't run it on 3rd and goal from the 1. So that tells me you're going to go for it on 4th and goal from the 1. Except they don't. And they send Jake Moody out for a 20-yard chippy field goal to cap the 11-play drive with a field goal to go up 13-10. You should have gone up 17-10. You're on the fucking doorstep. You've just had a long drive. I mean, nobody wants to be on the field for 11-play drives. That's where Arizona was. Shanahan goes for the field goal on 4th and goal from the 1 after passing on 3rd and goal from the 1. I thought that was just a terrible 2-play sequence right there. That one bugged me. That really did. And then, it's like they lost points there, and then they lost points by not having a field goal kicker at the end, and they had to go for it. And it's like, so you lost 4 points on the touchdown, 3 points on the field goal. So you lost 7, and you lost 7. You gave 7 points back to them, and you lost by 1 at home to the Cardinals.
It was a sequence of, I think, getting too cute in the wrong moments and getting too conservative in other moments. The moment you just described, way too conservative. Kyle, go for it. Worst case scenario, the Cardinals are starting with the ball on their own 2-yard line.
Right.
So it's not this devastating moment of you got to get points here. Although, look, on the broadcast, Tom Brady even said, I'd take the points here. It's okay. Kick the field goal. There's a lot of football left. Go up. So it didn't bother me in the moment as much as you look back at it and say, well, had you known the rest of the way the game was going to go, yeah, that feels like a very squandered moment. There were 2 things that hung over, I think, Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy's mind in this game. After going 3 and out, which is just the 3rd 3 and out of the year for the 49ers to open the game. So they go 3 and out. They get the ball back on that 2nd possession, and Purdy finds Aiyuk, and Aiyuk explodes for like a 50-yard play. It was fantastic. And look, a lot went wrong with the 49ers yesterday. Nothing wrong with Brandon Aiyuk yesterday. He's got his legs underneath him. It was good to see him and Brock get their groove back.
He was smiling walking out of the locker room.
Well, he should have been. Because if you're the Niners, you got to.
No, he shouldn't have been. They lost. The Cardinals.
The Niners have to be in the mindset that the Niners got to be in the mindset, hey, we got that. That is, we got to start putting things in they're working now category, and Brandon Aiyuk and Brock Purdy working together. We saw it for the first time this year. So at least they got that.
I don't like that, Damon. I don't like that. I think I don't like the fact that everybody's about themselves. The team. Don't walk out of the locker room with a happy look on your face when you just lost to the Arizona Cardinals at home. You're 0-2 in the division. Your chances of making the playoffs just went down. No, you already got paid. Nobody cares about your individual accomplishments, Jack. It's a team game.
Had the 49ers won the game and Brandon Aiyuk still looked like shit, that wouldn't have been good either. So, I don't look, it's fine.
Well, that's true. I'm not saying it's a negative that he looked good. I'm saying it's a negative that he seemed to be happy.
I think that there's plenty to get mad at. Smiles ain't part of it. I don't give a shit about
Fair
that.
enough.
The play that was the big pop play seemed to be a play that Kyle was like big game hunting the rest of the entire game. This team is spending a little bit too much time big game hunting for big plays. It's not what got you here. It's not really your identity. And are you only doing that because nobody's breaking open underneath anymore? And Brock Purdy was also, here's my Brock Purdy criticism, and I think he absolutely wears this one. He yesterday got interested in looking for the big play rather than making the right play for the situation. Best illustrated when he took the sack that took them out of field goal consideration, because now Wisnowski's your field goal kicker. You cannot take. I love that Brock Purdy has great pocket presence. I love that Brock Purdy can scramble. I love when Brock Purdy goes east and west. I love when he does a little bit of reversal of direction. But when he is now 18 yards behind the line of scrimmage and he's hunting for something, that's not good. And he spent way too much time looking for the big play rather than just getting rid of it. I mean, Tom Brady's got a lot of polish still that he needs to have put on him to be a great broadcaster. But listening to Purdy get evaluated by Tom Brady was pretty interesting yesterday on the broadcast. And he says he's just got to get rid of the ball faster. There was a
but here's the thing about that.
Running around, he's like, Brock had the ball for 11 seconds.
Yeah, here's the thing about that, though. We all applaud him, Damon, when he does extend plays.
Brady, hold on. Burkhardt asked Brady, he's like, what's the longest you've ever held on the ball? He's like, 2.7 seconds every time. It's out, 2.7.
But he had no mobility. Here's the thing about it. We're happy when Brock runs left, runs right, and finds somebody on the sideline wide open. We love it. Here's the bottom line on that. You're right. He has been asked to do more this year, shoulder a bigger part of the load. He drops back to pass. Nobody's open. He's not getting receivers separating. A lot of times, sometimes he doesn't even have his top guys out there this year. So he's kind of extended more plays with his legs, and he's gotten into that mode. And I agree that and if you're going to get into that mode, that means you're going to extend some plays, and a couple of them aren't going to work. A couple of them you're going to run into a turnover or a sack. He's really good at extending those plays and turning them into something good. But if you do it, 12 times, there's going to be 2 times that you run into a sack or a turnover, and he's now experiencing that. I agree with Brady that ultimately, in an ideal world, the ball's got to come out. He's got to play a little bit more on time, and there's got to be a little bit more. He's got to trust in the first read and the purpose of the play and not look to extend everything. But I do understand when you've done it 5 times and you've had success, you think you can do it a 6th time, right, and have success. So yeah, it wasn't his ideal game. He had a ball tipped. We had the first one tipped, then the next one he got knocked into, and the ball fluttered out, and that was a pick. So he's got to own those 2 turnovers, and the turnovers kill. But the reality is also Mason's got to stop fumbling. I mean, Mason has dropped the ball. I don't know if they're actual fumbles because he hasn't always lost them, but I've seen the ball pop loose on him at least a dozen times since training camp began. So he's got to do a better job of holding onto the ball. And I think we're seeing right now why Mason has been behind Mitchell, because Mitchell never fumbles and Mason occasionally fumbles.
The game, all the complaining about special teams, your kicker having to hurt himself because he's asked to make a tackle because nobody in front of him made a tackle. Robert Beal, look, it wasn't a first down granter, but he runs into a punter, another weak special teams play.
Wait, didn't they pick that up though?
No, because it was a 5
What happened on that play? Because
yard penalty.
It
was contact, but not unnecessary roughness. Anyway,
so what happened? Because they didn't re-kick it, did they?
Yeah, they just punted. Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing. No matter what happened, no matter what you want to complain about. I saw
Beal run in. I'm sorry. I saw Beal run into the kicker. It looked like a terrible flop, right? And then all of a sudden I looked up and it was Niners 1st and 10. JP Mason had the ball.
I think they declined it. They threw it. Yeah. So they declined it. They're like, we're happy with a punt. Just do it.
Gotcha.
So no matter what happened, all the stuff that goes into a football game, it comes down to at the very end, the 49ers have the ball, and they are putting together a good drive. I really thought that they were about to go down and take the go-ahead touchdown in the game, and then Mason fumbles, right?
At the 8.
Mason fumbles, but there you are. It's 4th and 5. There is 2:49 left in the game. Arizona is down 2, and Murray lets go of a YOLO ball that is in the air longer than we have been on the air for this version of Wake Up so far, Larry. We're in our 15th minute here, and that ball hung in the air for 15 minutes, and Marvin Harrison Jr. comes down with it. That cannot happen. I mean, you had a chance to get off the field and have the game basically put to bed, and they couldn't get off the field. It was a bad day. How many tackles did they miss yesterday, Larry? Arm tackle.
A lot. Where is that Harrison play? Where was that Harrison play? What series are you talking about, Damon? Was that the one?
Arizona's driving
5?
Yeah, it's 4th and 5 with 2:49 left in the game. Arizona's down 2. That's
Yadam.
The play of the game.
That was a Yadam screw up.
That
was Yadam on Marvin Harrison Jr. Murray threw just the softest ball ever that just fluttered and floated, and Yadam couldn't make any play on the ball at all. Just stood right there.
Yadam had a sort of breadbasket interception in the first quarter that he dropped.
Right. Yeah.
You know, there are 2 moments where he could have really altered that game, and he didn't.
Let's talk about Sorensen's D, though, Damon. How about Sorensen's D? Can we? I know they stopped him on the first series of the second half, but after that, touchdown 4-play drive, or field goal 4-play drive, 12-play drive touchdown, 14-play drive field goal. I mean, it's like you allowed them a 12 and a 14-play drive on their final 2 series. So we can talk about Purdy and Shanahan and kickers and this and that, but when the defense needed to bow up, they didn't bow up. And that last series was downright embarrassing. Connor run. 4 Connor runs to begin the first drive, and it netted him a first down. And then Murray scrambled. It's just really the scramble for the first down put him in field goal range, and then it was pretty much over at that point. The Niners got the ball back with 1:28 left, down 24-23, but essentially they needed a touchdown because they didn't have a kicker, or they needed a chip shot field goal, and then Purdy's arm gets hit because here White picks it. Thanks for coming. Just an awful loss.
There are 2 realities, right? We are looking at 2 realities which are going to start defining the 49ers here. The first reality is the positive reality. The first reality is, hey, you've played 5 games. Most of the league is 3-2 and 2-3. It's not over. There's still a lot of football left. And Sorensen and Brandon Staley, and it's all in its still infancy stage, and they're gonna mature, and they're gonna kind of start to figure it out, and the mesh, it's all gonna start coming together like this, and the Niners start looking like the 49ers, or they ain't got it no more. I mean, that's it. Those are the 2 realities. They start to look like themselves, or they're incapable of now looking like themselves from a couple of years ago, from just last year. They're not who they were anymore defensively. And that's a reality too. And if we really want to go back and start saying, where did it all go wrong? The Javon Hargrave expenditure at the expense of defensive depth at every level may have been one of the moves that helped slam shut your championship window as much as any opponent did anything else to have slam shut your championship window. I think we can trace it back to that. If the second part of my reality, if the second part of the why is what the Niners are looking at, you guys ain't who you are no more. And that's real. That happens in football. You're there, you get a 2-3 year window, and then over. So that is either what the Niners are looking at the rest of the way, or they really will figure this shit out and put it together. But I'm less confident in that now happening than I was just a week ago. And let me tell you, it's officially gauntlet time. It's the whole fuck around and find out. Well, the offseason, the preseason, contractually, there was a whole lot of fucking around, and they have found out that they are in a slow start right now, Larry. And here we go. The season turns on Thursday night, because on Thursday night, you either get back to 500 and win for the first time in your division, or you're 0-3 in division and 0-4 in conference with Kansas City coming to town. I don't think I have to convince anybody, whether they like me or not in this chat, that beating the Kansas City Chiefs isn't just something you can assume happens. And then the Cowboys, who everybody loves to shit on because it's a great rivalry, they balled up their fist and threw it at the Steelers last night. If you can go in and win in Pittsburgh against the 3-1 Steelers team, you can absolutely walk into Levi's Stadium if they're now in a 3-game losing streak because they dumped one of the Cardinals. Quick turnaround, they dump one up in Seattle, and then the Kansas City Chiefs are going to beat you. How about this? I'm telling you, you're going to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. Prove me wrong. I'm all done picking the Niners against the Chiefs. I've done that before. Not doing that again. So I assume you're going to lose that game. And then if you lose to the Cowboys, that's it. It is pack it up time. It's over at that point. So the next 3 weeks are going to tell you everything you need to know about the remainder of this season for the 49ers. Because here's the gauntlet. It's here. It's now. 2-4 is out there, Larry. 2-4 is out there for this team. It's looking at them on Thursday. And by the way, the Giants just went in and beat the Seahawks. Thank you, New York Giants. The Seahawks are going to be pissed.
Yeah, it's a must win. It's a must win, and very disappointing. I mean, the giveaways, they should have won this game. Here's why the Shanahan going for it was such a stupid play, because the whole game plan for this game should have been blow Arizona out as fast as possible. They've gotten their doors blown off consistently. They just got routed they just gave up 42 to Washington. You've beaten them 4 straight. They're 3-13 in their last 16 on the road, and most of those were not close. And so you've got a chance to go up 17-10 and to really, early second quarter and potentially get this game in a situation where you could, the fourth quarter could be about nothing. And that's what you should have been committed to, because you play in 4 days. And instead it's like you're letting Arizona hang around by kicking field goals. And, you're not that long drives that result in just 3 points. That was a killer. That was an absolute killer. And I don't understand the mindset there. I don't understand passing it on third down from the 1. Do you not have any confidence in your offensive line? You got a 235-pound back. You can't, you don't feel if your 235-pound back can't get 1 yard on 2 tries at home against the Arizona Cardinals defensive line that has nobody that you can even name, then you're not good enough, period. I'll take my chances on Mason on 3rd and goal from the 1, and I'll take my chances on Mason on 4th and goal from the 1. To kick a field goal there is just ridiculous. And then once again, we can go to the box score. But how the Arizona Cardinals, if you looked at the numbers going into this game, were awful on run defense. They were horrendous. They're 5th. This is the reality about the Arizona Cardinal defense. Okay. They were 25th in total defense, 29th in points allowed, 18th against the pass, which is not great, but 28th against the run, 28th. And the 49ers come out in a game that was not out of hand, or wasn't like they fell into a deep hole. They led the game. They led throughout the game.
Dude,
and the Niners
play action.
There's no play action, but 35 passes and 26 runs. Why the fuck is that not 35 runs and 26 passes?
Well, and
why? Why are they passing 35 times against the Arizona Cardinal team that is horrible against the run? And by the way, when you did run it on your 26 carries, you ran it for 6 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So what are you doing?
Yeah. Why do we have to talk to Kyle to say run the ball more? He should be the last guy in the world you'd have to tell to run the ball more. Mason, who just a couple of weeks ago, last week, we're saying is in danger of breaking the single season carries record by about 70 carries established by Frank Gore all those years ago. And this guy is maybe getting way too many carries. The pendulum swings all the way back to you're not using him enough. 14 carries for Jordan Mason on a day where he's getting you 6.4. 14 carries. And his first four carries went for 6 yards. He only had 4 carries in the first quarter. And it just felt like the ball got lost by the offense. This is a team that you can get bullyish against, and they went finesse. I didn't understand it. And look, if you really wanted to say, all right, well, I want to keep it as simple as possible. I want to boil it all down, and I just want to blame one person. And it's either the head coach or the quarterback, or I got to blame one person. Did Deebo Samuel do anything other than put the cassette in the boombox? Because he doesn't even carry the boombox. He doesn't even carry the boombox. He just hype's coming out. Deebo Samuel is drifting slowly into overpaid and overrated. He really is. Now, when this team is at its best, Deebo's at the center of it, playing with violence, and he's all involved in the game plan. Yesterday, 1 catch, 11 yards. He cannot separate. Deebo Samuel used to be like the special weapon that you can pull out quickly and shoot the other team with it because they didn't see it coming. Now Deebo in any run play, Larry, is like a slow-loading musket. I mean, you can Deebo running the ball doesn't do anything anymore. Anything.
I agree. I mean, he looks slow. He 3 carries for 9 yards, 1 catch for 11 yards. You're making $28 million a year. You've got all this bravado. I mean, come on, bro. You got to show up. Also, once again, it's like Shanahan, we should just call Shanahan Pass Happy Pete or something. I mean, this guy he just loves to pass.
I think
the Cardinals were down all day.
How clever he is. How cute
the Cardinals were down all day. They maintained offensive balance. 30 passes, 26 runs. The Niners led all day and had 35 passes and 26 runs. And they ran the ball so effectively. I mean, it was just it's just ridiculous. I mean, this should have been a run-heavy plan that you got up early and took Mason off the field late. And you should have had a very comfortable, dominating win. Instead, you're kicking field goals. I mean, they got a defensive score and they still lost. Their offense produced 16 points. 16 points against the Arizona Cardinals at home.
Nick Bosa.
You deserve to lose.
Nick Bosa makes one of the best defensive plays you'll ever see in your life, picking off that screen pass. It was fantastic. They turned the ball over too many times.
One pressure, by the way. One.
That's it?
One pressure for Nick Bosa.
Oof.
That was my next thing. Nick Bosa isn't Nick Bosa anymore.
No.
Nick Bosa's not playing like the defensive player of the year. If you go watch the Lions, go watch Aiden Hutchinson do his thing, and then tell me Nick Bosa's the best.
Watt.
He's not the best.
TJ Watt. Holy
TJ
shit.
Watt. Go watch TJ Watt, and then tell me Nick Bosa's the best. He's not the best. Nick Bosa had one pressure. One.
So it was a bad day for the 49ers. And again, the gauntlet now begins. You're at okay. Let's address a couple of things just in the chat to just calm some people down here. Or just here's the thing: you can be in your feelings all you want this morning. I'm not going to deny anybody of their feelings, Larry, but there is zero chance that Nick Sorensen will be fired before Thursday. Okay, there is zero chance that they are going to change their special teams coordinator on a short week before Thursday. There is no coaching change coming this week, and there is no coaching change coming in between the short week and the Kansas City Chiefs, and there is no coaching change coming before the Dallas Cowboys game. After that's a bye week. And that's when something might need to happen. Okay? Going into a bye week is the week where if you're going to do something extreme and pull a trigger, it's going to happen then. It's not going to happen in the run up to Thursday night up in Seattle.
Do you really believe a coaching change is what they need? I don't think so. I think they need personnel changes.
And that's the thing. Like, everyone is motherfucking Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy and to an extent today.
They deserve it.
Well, Shanahan didn't fumble the ball. You know, he didn't.
Shanahan kicked a field goal on the 1 yard line with a back that's averaging 6 yards a carry.
That was some chicken shit. That is what. So when you went into the post game presser, what did he say about that? What did he say? How did he address that decision?
You know what? There were so many different questions about things that I don't even know if that one came up. That one's probably going to come up today.
How could that not one come up? It's one of the single biggest moments of the entire football game.
Well, if it did, I don't remember what he said.
49ers.
I wish I could tell you.
Cheeks. I mean, good Lord. How do you not ask that question?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people pretty stunned by this one, to be completely honest. This game was a stunning type loss for sure. I'll say this. I think the bigger question is this. What do you do? What do you do? Right? We can talk about the negatives. Here's the biggest negative I saw. And this is a Josh Dubow AP tweet.
Dubow or Dubow?
Dubow, maybe. I think it might be Dubow. Brock Purdy went down 1 to 8 points in the fourth quarter in the regular season. 10 for 26 for 149 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4 picks, 18.4 passer rating with 1 comeback win and 6 chances. So if you put all the pressure on the quarterback and say, you know, here you go, you carry us, he's going to struggle at times doing that. I love this guy. I love this one. Bird. Larry's protecting Kyle again. I just raked him for going for it on 4th and 1 from the 1 yard line for not going for it, for kicking the field goal. But yeah, I'm carrying his water. No, I mean, Kyle's got to answer for this. There's no question. Kyle's got to answer for this. He's got to answer for all of it. You know, what's happened to the red zone offense? What's happened to, you know, the run game if you don't trust Mason to run it more than 14 times? You know, I mean, and more than anything, what do you do? Okay, what do you do? We can bitch and moan forever. They have a game on Thursday. So they're not practicing. There'll be no practice between now and that game. It's all walkthroughs. You, as Damon outlined very well off the start, you got to have this one. You cannot lose and go 0-3 in the division and then have Kansas City staring you in the eye. The season could be over literally in 2 weeks. So this is by far the biggest game of their year right now. They had to split minimum with Arizona and Seattle, and the far easier one was going to be Seattle. It was going to be Arizona at home instead of Seattle on the road. Now they have to go to Seattle, and they have to beat a Seattle team that's pissed off themselves. So I would say they need personnel changes. Okay. And when I say personnel changes, I'm talking mostly live with the offensive personnel. I got to see more of JP Mason running the football. He's got to get more than 14 carries. Tim Ryan was on the pregame. I was listening to it with Papa and Lund and Copes driving in. I was listening to Tim's segment. Tim's like, Jordan Mason's got to get 20 rushes today. Well, he didn't get 20 rushes. Uh-oh.
Sorry. Whole house just lost power. Just like, boop, and then it came right back on. I don't know if was that a rolling blackout? I have no idea what just happened, but
maybe, you know, well, it's been hot in the city, right? Really hot.
Anyway.
Anyway, I was just saying that, you know, there's a lot you can point to here, but I think it's personnel changes. I wouldn't change the personnel on offense, but I would change the personnel on defense. It came out this morning. Yatir Gross-Matos is done for 4 to 8 weeks. So he's hurt and he's out. but you got to get Campbell off the field. You got to get Yadam off the field. It's time for Renardo Green to play for Yadam. It's time for Winters or Bethune or really anybody. Jalen Graham. I want to see somebody that's not named Devondre Campbell. Devondre Campbell has lost it.
He's done. He's done. I can't even see the nameplate on his back because there's a huge fork sticking out of him. Get him off the field. And then cut him, waive him, promote anyone from the practice squad who is faster than him. He's slow. He doesn't react. The entire defense starts to move on a play, and he's taking like 2 heartbeats before he's even moving. He's got to get off the field. And Isaac Yadam, it's time for Rocky Sin. I mean, like, just give me anyone else, someone else.
Right.
Ambry Thomas out there in a fucking sling. I don't care. Like, just
Ambry never looked so good. The idea of Ambry never looked so attractive.
Yeah. That was an incredible.
No, you're right. You're totally right. But they have to make some. They got to make some decisions here, man. I mean, there's got to make some decisions. Bosa's not getting anything done. I like Jordan Elliott, but I didn't notice any impact at all of Kalia Davis. Leonard Floyd was the only guy that showed up in the stat sheet for the most part on that defensive line. So they're not getting it done up front. Campbell has got to come off the field. And Flanagan Fowles is hurt, so put Graham out there. My God, what does Jalen Graham need to do or Tatum Bethune need to do to get some run on this team? Devondre Campbell is not the answer. Not the answer. And then here's the other one. Hufanga, I think, has got to be one of the most overrated players I've ever seen. This guy made a couple of nice plays a couple of years ago that were on national TV, and he's got the Troy Polamalu hair, and everybody thinks he's great. He falls off of tackles left and right.
He was an all-pro. He was an
all-pro, but I think he was an erroneous all-pro. I don't think he's an all-pro. I do not believe that Talanoa Hufanga is an all-pro strong safety. I don't. Okay, I don't believe it.
So I'm going to give Hufanga just a little bit of grace because the guy's coming back from a terrible injury, and it's gone wrong for him and a couple other body parts since returning. He doesn't have his sea legs underneath him. I think Talanoa Hufanga, if he can stay healthy for 3 weeks in a row, will be a much better player at the end of that 3 weeks than he was at the beginning of the 3 weeks. So, does this team have safety concerns? You bet they do. You bet. They've got way too many strong safeties, and they might not have one free safety. So it's time to have Renardo Green, maybe drift into the land of uncomfortable and ask him to do more than he was even asked to at Florida State. But you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again with these results. And, is it Sorensen? Is it Staley? Is it a lack of talent? What is it? If it's a lack of talent, you're done. If it's
a lack of it's partly Sorensen, Damon. It's partly Sorensen. Why do I say that? Because the communication on basic plays breaks down 5, 6, 7 times a game where they're just allowing easy plays that really should not be allowed. I mean, once again, if you go back to the 12-play drive and the 14-play or the 12-play and the 14-play drive, they went back to back. I mean, okay, so it's Connor run, Murray to Dortch against Warner, Connor run, Murray to Connor against Warner, Murray to the tight end Ryman. 3rd and 7 from the 42. Murray found Michael Wilson, and he beat Devondre Campbell. That was a huge play in the game. That 3rd and 7 from the 42. Niners get off the field on 3rd and 7 there. It's a different game. Instead, Campbell gives up a reception to Wilson for 11 yards. Drive continues. Connor run. Then Murray found Wilson again. This time, Mooney Ward was beaten. Then Bosa jumps off sides. Seriously, things like that. Then Murray went to Michael Wilson. He beat Yadam. Then Connor ran in the middle. And then Murphy found Higgins for 2 yards. And then Connor goes in for the 2-point conversion. And suddenly it's Niners up by 2. And then they're looking to put it away. The Niners get the ball back. They would take the ball from their 30. They're moving the ball down the field. 20-yard run to Mason, 20-yard Purdy to Aiyuk. Things are looking good. Third, they get to 1st and goal from the 8. and Mason fumbles.
And
but there's no reason that they had to allow Arizona to go 92 yards, but they did. You know, I mean, or not 92 yards, but they allowed them to drive down into field goal range on the very next drive. And just once again, you know, if there was one thing, if you said, give me one thing, because it's never one thing, but if it was one thing, my one thing is that the Cardinals committed to running the ball with the money on the table and ran it right at the Niners. You know, the Cardinals were the ones with the terrible run D on paper, but they ran the ball and committed to James Conner. Conner got 19 carries. He didn't run it that effectively, but he ran it effectively enough in the second half, 5.9 a carry. So where was the tackling? He forced 9 missed tackles. 9. That's a lot.
He's not really like a missed tackle guy. He's a run through you guy.
Right. He gutted them.
When you look at how just the little moments that go into the loss, the Niners are up 23-10 at the half. They have a 3-and-out. They get right off the field. Cardinals got the ball to start the second half. Niners defense gets right off the field. And then here comes Purdy. And this is now you got a chance for a go-ahead, you know, crushing score. But that's when the tipped interception happened for Purdy. And that was a gift. All of a sudden, the Cardinals were starting a drive on their 30-something yard line, and they end up punching that in. And it's I think the 49ers actually bowed in that moment, and they bowed up and they held the Cardinals to a field goal in that moment right after the Purdy tipped interception on the Cardinals' second drive in the second half.
The defense bowed up.
The field goal.
Yeah.
And it just, again, when's the last time any Shanahan offense, whether the game was won or lost, got shut out in a half? When's the last time the 49ers were shut out in a half of football?
When was the last time they only had 4 possessions, right? Interception, turnover on downs, fumble, interception. The biggest negative play from Shanahan was not going for the field goal, or going for the field goal, not the touchdown in the second quarter. The biggest screw up from Purdy by far was the sack that he took.
It got them out of Wisnowski field goal range.
Yeah, that sack that he took on 4th and I guess it was
4th and 23.
No, 2nd and 14. That his sack made it 3rd and 23. Right. Jones sacked Purdy on 2nd and 14 from the 18.
And that was one of those moments where he's just jitterbugging all over the field. He's looking to make a play, and Tom Brady, I think right after that moment, even said, sometimes just throw the ball away.
Yeah.
Just throw it away, man. Just throw it away. And Brock Purdy is the guy who makes the right choice to just throw it away. But I think
he protects the ball, typically.
Purdy got lost in his own ability to buy time in a game where he was buying an extreme amount of time. Look, the 49ers' much maligned offensive line, I don't think had a terrible day yesterday pass blocking for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy had chances to order pizzas. He was in the pocket looking for zone. There is no separation downfield. There's just no, Kittle's not getting it. Debo's not getting it. Aiyuk did get it, and that's why he had the lion's share of the receptions and the yardage yesterday.
They're slow. They're slow.
Now you need to present more targets. You can't just have 2 slow targets. 3 slow targets is better than 2. Juwan Jennings might be your best wide receiver, and he's not even involved in the game plan. Now, I know that he hurt himself, but he did return to that game. You got to feed him the ball. What is Ronnie Bell out there for? Why? What's Ronnie Bell going to do? Make a play? I don't think so. Why? Where's Jacob Cowing?
Well, he's hurt.
Okay. We did not.
Yeah, he's hurt. He has a shoulder injury, but once again, he's looking kind of like glass, and they have Terrace Marshall, and they have, go with some other guys. I mean, my God. But and then Jennings, I mean, you mentioned Jennings. Jennings had a false start right before that Purdy sack that took 2nd and 9. I mean, they were at 1st and 10. I mean, talk about an interesting game. This game, the Niners led 22-13 after the Ryland field goal. Okay. And this 22-13. So they're up, or 23-13. They're up 10. And, then the Purdy, the turnover on downs, and you're sitting there going, man, they lost 3 points here. They could have gone up 13 at least, but they're still up 10. But then the defense just caves and gives up a 12-play drive. And then, Mason fumbles, but then the defense just caves. Arizona's on their own 9-yard line, and you allowed them to drive into field goal range. So, I mean, the defense is not as good. The special teams is not as good. And, Purdy's in this make a play mode. And it's hard to be, to have that mindset of, what? Just don't make negative plays. So we always talk about make a play, and make a play sounds good, but winning football is as much about avoid making the negative play than it is about making the positive play. And 100%. Brock Purdy, trying desperately to make the positive play, made a couple negative plays, and it cost his team the game yesterday. There's no question about it. And if he were sitting here, he would own it. He absolutely would. So it's just the way it is. I mean, and they have now their backs are against the wall. But what do you think of Silver's quote? Something is off about the Niners, and it isn't just losing to the Cardinals that feels weird.
Vibes? Is that where we're at the vibes portion of the year again? Because I thought it was bad vibe summer, and then you got out of that. You telling me bad vibe summer has moved in, or as Mike Silver with bad vibe summer, the bad vibes is here. I love Mike. He might be right. He's dialed in. Look at it this way. It doesn't look like it used to. I think we can everyone agree on that. Whatever the Niners were, they don't really look like that now anymore. And it's not because Christian McCaffrey's not here. It's because this defense is not scary. They're not playing with a level of violence. When the Niners were at their best, there is violence there. For them to be dead last in yards after catch, that is an indictment on this team's ability to do what it does best. The 49ers were built to be yards after catch, and right now they are 32nd in the NFL in yards after catch. How'd that happen? Where did that come from?
No speed, no separation. Here. I want to show you something. I just want to show you something, because this was the most physical play of the game. You want to know the most physical play of the game, and you say that what the Niners are missing?
Jake Moody making big plays.
Here it is, right here. No better than that, Damon. Watch this.
Okay.
Most physical play of the game right here.
Oh, this should have been a sideline ejection. Who is that?
Dre Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw should be suspended for a game.
Okay, but the bigger overarching point is that was the most violence I think I saw from a Niner defender yesterday.
Yeah. that's
where's our defensive attitude? It's right there. That's our defensive attitude. Where's our intimidating defense? It's right there. He's wearing a t-shirt. He's got a killer chain going. He just dealt McBride a harder hit than anybody else did all day.
You're right, and I understand the point you're trying to make. That is also so fucking Bush League that if I am Roger Goodell, I'm suspending Dre Greenlaw his first game back from coming back from injury. That is Bush League shit, Larry.
Well, I agree, but it's not the way it should go down.
If that had happened to a Niner, had that been, an aggressive Arizona Cardinal in street clothes, everyone would have shit themselves complaining.
You and your perspective.
Yeah.
Right, let's hit some supers. Damon's going to hit us with more honest and actual perspective. We can't have that.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I've been labeled Karen Damon. Okay, Karen Damon.
With 2 R's too. That's a good one. What happens if you grew up and your mom and dad named you Karen? I always hated Larry, because Larry's the asshole in every commercial now. Have you noticed that? Larry. It's like people are taking, if my name were Bartholomew, I wouldn't be getting this. If my name was Reggie, I wouldn't be getting this. If my name was Philip, I wouldn't be getting this. Because it's Larry, I got to listen to commercials where Larry's a jackass. Larry doesn't know where he's driving. Larry has to listen to his wife yell at him. Larry just stepped in dog shit.
One of the sweetest people and one of the fondest memories of a family member I have. And I'm asking memories because I don't see her anymore. She's still very much alive on the East Coast. But my Aunt Karen, ouch. It's just poor Aunt Karen. Just got stuck with. It's, sometimes.
Do they have legal recourse? I mean, is there a lawyer out there? Do Karens have legal recourse?
There are moments in time where a name gets such bad press, it gets pretty much stamped out of the baby book for a generation or two. Let me tell you right now, there are no more Adolphs. There are no more Adolphs. No one's getting named Adolf anywhere. And I don't know if there's been a single Karen named as a baby, a newborn baby in the last 3-4 years. Who would name their baby Karen?
I don't know. I was watching something the other day, and Steve Harvey's like, a boy's name that starts with H. And the guy goes, Jose. And Steve Harvey gave him a look like, what?
Okay.
Awesome.
That's great. All right, Larry. Hold on. Before we do supers, can we talk about our incredible sponsor? Who would you even give a lobster roll to after this game? Maybe I know why Brandon Aiyuk was smiling. Because, Larry, I'm giving my lobster roll to Brandon Aiyuk. For a team that's going nowhere pretty much right now, they're really going nowhere unless Aiyuk has more games like that. It was really good to see Brandon Aiyuk get off. It's really good to see that paella right there. It's even better to see the Chipino. That Chipino goes for it on 4th and goal every time. That Chipino has never settled for a 20-yard field goal in its life. But my lobster roll goes to Brandon Aiyuk. It was so good to see him look like Brandon Aiyuk. He was spectacular. I mean, full stop. There's zero wrong with how Brandon Aiyuk played yesterday. He was far and away the Niners' best player.
He was good. 8 catches for 147, 12 targets, 8 catches. Best day for sure for him. I'll give mine to Jonathan Gannon. I mean, he just outcoached Kyle Shanahan. He absolutely outcoached Kyle Shanahan. His team was ready to roll. His team was prepared. They had a plan.
I think Kyle Shanahan might have outcoached Kyle Shanahan.
Well, I'm going to give it to Gannon. I think Gannon's team, they could have rolled over and died. They didn't. It was 23-10. It was 95 degrees. They're on the road against a team that they've lost 4 in a row to. It's alumni day. You got 100 alums in the house. Everything was going against you. And instead, 14-0 shutout in the second half by Gannon's defense. And Gannon calls the defense. So I'll give it to Gannon.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, let's super it up. I see we got quite a few of them.
Yeah, let's go to the starred chats here. Wayne Wong says, new member.
Wayne, thank you very much. By the way, Wayne works at SFO. He is taking care of your baggage, your luggage, making sure it gets on the right plane. And he's a really good guy. He's been a listener for years and now part of the initiated. Thank you very much, Wayne.
Damon shouting out a man who hides his contraband in Damon's bags. There you go.
If it weren't for Wayne, I would have had a drug dog up my end. No, thank you very much, Wayne.
I was face down on the sidewalk when I met Wayne. David E says, when the quarterback is leaving the pocket and getting passes to open receivers batted down, that's on him. Purdy needs to cool the Brett Favre impersonation. You can't fault him for making plays and then, be like, oh, you should have reined it in. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't make any plays after the play that was called in the huddle wasn't there. Now you got a guy who can extend plays, but yeah, he's running too much. He's creating a kind of a hectic feel to their offense by leaving the pocket at times too soon. I agree.
He put a couple of hezzies, but I'll tell you this though. He put a couple hezzy moves out there. Like he was Kevin Durant with the ball that were just incredible. Like Brock is an incredible athlete. He truly is, but
he needs to run.
I want his pendulum to stop being at either extreme of not running enough or running too much. Find the middle ground. And whenever the 49ers overload in too much of one, not enough of the other, it's when they get in trouble. So
Brock Purdy is a great freaking quarterback. I think we all need to say that. But here's the thing. You got to take care of the ball. And every quarterback has got a weakness. And his weakness is sometimes he tries to make a play and he doesn't take care of the ball. He's got to get his dial of protecting the football up. Now, it's interesting because I actually think one of the red zone problems is he needs to kind of let it loose more and take more chances. But at the same time, the results are the results, and you have to protect the football. If they didn't turn it over yesterday, they would have won, and they turned it over and they lost.
For a team that was playing I'm sorry, Larry, but for a team that was playing with 4-down mentality in the second half, they weren't playing with 4-down mentality. They knew they didn't have a field goal kicker. They should have been going in for 4th down on their side of the field all day long. And they just, I don't know.
Which makes the sack that he took all the more punitive because they went from a situation where it would have been a short field goal to 4th and 23 from the 27. And you just can't. You're at that point, you're done. That was when they got no points out of that drive. I was like, oh my God, this is happening.
And what even hurt that drive even worse, Larry, was the incomplete to Kittle. Kittle had a ball in his hands and he dropped it. And that would have meant that the Cardinals were starting at about their own 9 to 12-yard line. Instead, they were, out at the 20-ish. Thanks to that incomplete. So they didn't even get the Fugazi punt correct.
Somebody on Twitter just said, hey, man, the Niners are just getting too cute. And they got too cute yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Matthew Waring, wouldn't you guys agree that defense secondary confusions and red zone issues all come down to coaching? Terrible focus, play calling. I like Kyle, but sheesh. Once again, there are people that will reference that Kyle's the problem. I'm cool with critiquing anybody, but don't tell me that Brock's the problem and not have a solution. And don't tell me that Kyle's the problem and not have a solution. Either tell me who you want, and then we can really have a real debate. Otherwise, it's just bitching. Have you ever gone on a road trip with one of your boys, and it's like all he does for the first 25 miles is bitch about his wife? You guys have 3 kids together. You've been married for 21 years. You're probably going to be married for another 21 years. Hey, buddy, shut the fuck up or leave her. Either leave her or shut up about her. I don't want to hear about it anymore. And I would say the same thing to all you Kyle Shanahan bashers. Either come up with a better coach or shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear your bitching anymore. Is he perfect? No. But who do you prefer? Why don't we start the conversation there, and then we don't have to get then all of a sudden a lot of the he's got to go will quiet down, because then you realize who you going to. They had a great coach that they didn't get along with. His name was Jim Harbaugh. It took them from when he left in 2014, after 2014, it took them years to find Shanahan, to get relevant again. They were not relevant under Tom Sula. They were not relevant under Chip Kelly. So I'm sorry, they've been relevant. And I think we're forgetting how bad things can get. I'm not saying that, I'm not wed to Kyle Shanahan. It's not like he's a family member. It's not my son, but I don't want to listen to anybody tell me that he sucks unless you can come up with a better solution. Well, if you got a better answer, give it to me and let's talk about it. Otherwise, I don't want to hear about it.
Right. And it's just the complaint that follows any loss. No matter what happened, no matter how the Niners lose, there is a sect out there that says, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach. I mean, it's just,
the nuclear solution gets tired, dude. I mean, you're married, I'm married. Could you imagine if every single time there was a dispute between you and your wife, the entire relationship was on the table? Like, right. Damon, you parked in my parking spot. I don't know if I want to be married to you anymore. Do you know how exhausting that would get after a while?
Too many dishes in the sink, Damon. Too many dishes in the sink, and I'm moving back in with my parents.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
Could you imagine? There are people who have relationships like that where every time there's ever an issue, the entire thing is on the table. And I feel sorry for those people. It's a terrible way to live. Fuji Simeon says Reardon gives up a 21-point lead. Cal gave up a lead. The Niners gave up a lead as well. SI once again proves that they own Reardon. Congrats, Larry. What can I say? Go Cats. Get them Cats. Go get them Cats. I'm glad it was a good game, and I'm glad nobody got hurt. James Foster. By the way, Northgate beat Los Lomas. The Battle of the Creek Friday night goes to Northgate, and they storm the field in Walnut Creek as they ran their rivals off the field. Very impressive win. Ben Ballard's got Northgate football going in the right direction. I'm not sure how, but he's got it going in the right direction. And there could be improprieties. No, I don't know. I'm just joking.
No. You know what? It's time to get Ben Ballard to the 49ers then. This guy turns programs around.
This guy, Ben Ballard. I don't know what the transcripts of all these kids, but you know what? We got a hell of a squad. James Foster says the offense had 4 turnovers. The Arizona defense is worse than the Arizona offense. Why are we talking about our defense? We're talking about the defense because the defense allowed scores on every single possession of the second half except for the first one. Arizona scored on their 7th possession. Arizona scored on their 8th possession. Arizona scored on their 9th possession. And the last 2 possessions, they had a 12-play and a 14-play drive. That's why we're talking about the defense. But it's not like the offense. They scored 16 points on a horrible Arizona defense at home on a perfect weather day. They were shut out at home by this Arizona defense, the same Arizona defense that gave up 42 points and 216 rushing yards the week before to Washington. The thing that makes me the most mad about Shanahan's game plan was the fact that Washington ran for 216, the Niners ran for 153, 6 yards a pop, and Mason got 14 carries.
Right. Now, it went from he's being used too much to not being used enough in the wrong game. It really did.
Save him for Thursday night, but you better win Thursday night.
Good to see Patrick Taylor get mixed in too, right? Great to see him finally get an opportunity. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Why is he even on
I was going to say, I didn't see him. Yeah, where's Patrick Taylor?
He's taking up a roster spot that should go to somebody who is used in, I don't know, football games.
Yeah. Keyshawn Vaughn's walking around the Niner locker room going, what the hell is going on around here? Terrace Marshall is walking around the Niner locker room going, what in the hell is going on around here? The Niners have more proven talent on their practice squad than they do on their active roster, and that's a fact.
And straight up, Debo, drop the attitude, dude. Drop the attitude right now. I mean, you just that guy is the leader of ain't who he used to be on this team right now. He really is.
Let me ask you this. This is a very difficult question for me to ask you, but I got to ask. If the Niners lose on Thursday night, should they sell off Debo? Should they sell off some of the key parts? Should they, instead of buying, they bought Trent, they bought, Emmanuel Sanders, they bought Randy Gregory, they bought Chase Young. Instead of buying more, trading more draft picks, should they trade Debo?
I don't think
should they trade some of their guys?
They haven't been able to put themselves in the position to even consider that because the 2 receivers they drafted to maybe be the yes answer to that question are completely unproven non-factors to this point. We don't know what Ricky Pearsall is. So we don't know.
I need to see Ricky Pearsall soon.
Yeah, we don't know if he is ready to assume any opportunity on this team. And Jacob Cowing is just an absolute no-show, and we don't know yet. And so, no, I don't think that.
But I'm just saying, is it over, Damon? Is it over? You're thinking about thinking about this year. I'm thinking about if they lose to Seattle, they will be 2-4, staring at Kansas City. And Dallas. Do you pivot and sell?
Maybe after the Dallas game, if you're sitting at 2-6.
Okay.
But look at it this way. If the 49ers are 2-6, yeah, I mean, all bets are off the table. At 2-6 for the very first time, Kyle Shanahan's job is actually in a little bit of jeopardy. Any false flag of Kyle Shanahan being in trouble, and that's all they've been. There is zero pressure for Kyle Shanahan to win a game to keep his job. They go to 2-6, that starts to change.
There's a lot of weirdness. I will agree with Silver. There's a weird vibe. Shanahan has well, first of all, he looks exhausted. But this year he's starting to sound tired. He's either tired of the routine, tired of the questions, tired of the second guessing, tired of he sounds
burnout is real, man. Burnout
sounds burnt out
is real.
He does sound burnout. He does. I mean, that's what he sounds like. I don't know if he is, but that's what he sounds like.
Xavier,
yeah, he kind of go ahead. Xavier says BP seemed to break pocket early, feet or O-line. I think it's when you are in that mindset, make a play, and you've had to bail out of the pocket a lot. You're looking to bail out of the pocket sooner than you should at times. That's what I think is going on there. Fuji Simeon says, what does Kyle need to improve on to fix the problem? I mean, they need to get some wins, and he needs to run the ball and commit to the run more. I mean, Arizona's run defense was the worst in the NFL, and they gave their best running back 14 carries, and they didn't maintain offensive balance. The Niners led 10-7 at the end of the first quarter. The Niners led 23-10 at the end of the second quarter. The Niners led 23-13 at the end of the third quarter. So why do you have 35 passes and 26 runs on a day that you led the entire day? Why? Why is that not 35 runs and 26 passes? The common denominator of all of Kyle Shanahan's gags, losses, bad losses in Atlanta as the OC, in San Francisco as the head coach, the common denominator is always they don't run the ball enough. He gets pass happy.
And here's
yesterday
the deal.
Is an example.
With all your pass happiness, where is the clever? I mean, if fourth and short for your life, what are you running here, Kyle? What is the best play you got in your playbook for fourth and an eyelash? What do you got? Can we see it? When's the last time the 49ers ran an offensive play that made you go, oh, I've never seen anything like that before, man. That was freaking clever. That was
I liked the touchdown to Jennings. Was it last week where he stared to the left? Or was it the Ram game? Which game was it? I guess it was the Ram game in L.A., where he stared to the left. He had Aiyuk, and he drew the safety over to Aiyuk, and then he just had JJ running to the middle, and he was absolutely in the clear. I love the design on that. I love the design on the Aiyuk. I was just hailing the design on the Aiyuk fifth play on the deep cross when Kyle had this route combination, which basically dragged the entire defense to the left, and you had Aiyuk coming across, and he was wide freaking open. So I think Kyle at times is genius with his play design, but the bottom line is his offense scored 16 points yesterday. 16 at home on a nice day. It's not Denver. It wasn't 37-mile-an-hour winds. It wasn't a sleet storm. It was a warm, perfect, sunny day, and they scored 16 points at home against a really mediocre, and that's not even doing mediocre service.
I don't know
or Arizona D.
I don't know if warm and perfect was the best way to describe that. Oppressively hot would be another way to describe what it was down at Levi's the other day. But
end the game faster then by running the ball.
For the Cardinals, that's a cooler day than they're used to, right? Cardinals go out and practice in 110.
They play in a dome. Yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying. They live in that.
110, man. They live in the oven that is Phoenix, Arizona. Brock was fine. Like Brock, dude, this is the afternoon that Brock Purdy grew up in. He's from Arizona. So Brock is used to that heat. He looked extra spry and frisky all freaking day long. It was a fast track, and the 49ers got shut out in the second half. And Kyle just played scared without his kicker. And Brock Purdy made a few plays where instead of looking for the big play, he should have just been looking to stay on schedule. And that's where my criticism falls on Brock Purdy more than anything else yesterday.
Yeah,
you got to know you cannot take that sack when you got Mitch Wisnowski now up as your kicker. Oh, by the way, but the thing is, he's trying to make a play. He's running around trying to make a play.
And you know that mentality. It's like make a play, make a play, make a play. And after a while, I'm sure you lose your compass as far as risk reward and all those things that he's a little bit off right now because he's being asked to do more. A lot of it is with his legs. And so he's thinking, if it's not there, I got to make it happen. And he starts to run around. And at times he's running around too much, and it's giving the offense a chaotic feel to it overall. That's my feel.
Look, I can't help but notice there's not a lot of Jake Moody sucks in the chat or on the timeline, right? You don't know what you got until it's gone. And how long he is going to be gone is going to be pretty interesting. The fact that he got up, that ankle bent in an unnatural way. The fact that he walked off the field was one of the more shocking developments of, I think, the entire day based on how bad that ankle bent. How long is he going to be gone and out of the picture? Who is the street kicker that the 49ers are going to sign and get ready to play 3 days from now?
I mean, I'm not worried about that. One, it just seems like the kicking level of play is so high that there probably are guys out there that can be signed and that can come in and probably do the job. But yeah, I mean, it's Kyle said it was a high ankle sprain, Damon. So that usually means it's going to be a longer deal. And because he's, this is a kicker, I don't know. Was it his kicking leg or was it his plant leg? Do you know?
It was his, let's see, he's getting bent over there. That's his kicking leg, right? He sprained his right ankle. Is that it? Yeah, or no, that was his left ankle. That's his plant leg.
That might be worse. Yeah. That might be worse. You know what I mean? So we'll have to see. But I'm not as concerned about can they find a kicker. I think they'll be able to find a kicker. It's just a matter of, can they get it going? I mean, can they get it going? And can they put their best players on the field? Like, I really do think that Keyshawn Vaughn probably should be activated, especially if Patrick Taylor's never going to play. And Guerrero had his best game yesterday, but he still looks kind of raw. I still think Terrace Marshall ought to be out there, but they invested a draft pick in Ronnie Bell, and so they're smitten about Ronnie Bell. I don't get it.
By the way, if you sign Robbie Gold crowd, I think Robbie Gold is coaching his kids' high school team. He ain't coming back.
Oh, and come on. You can get guys who were in camp and kicked professionally weeks ago. Why would you go for somebody who kicked professionally years ago? Lucas says it looked like Mason got punched in the head before he fumbled. Did the refs miss it, or is that a legal play if you're trying to punch the ball out? I didn't see that, but on the rewatch, I'll check that out today. Broken. And by the way, I'll take tons of calls tonight at 6:00 on Niners Nightly. No guest planned for tonight. We'll let people vent. Broken Metronome says Kyle Shanahan has peaked as a head coach. He is lost, plain and simple. All right. I mean, I'm willing to listen to it.
Hard to argue with that today.
Yeah. I think that's well worded. I'll say that. That to me is a criticism that is worth discussing, at least. Greg RJZ says Shanahan is a bad head coach, not prepared, same as offensive tackle in the Super Bowl, overtime in the Super Bowl. Can't close games. The defensive coordinator stinks. Special teams stinks. He is responsible. No one calls him out. Why?
Okay, well, he gets called out all the time. He gets called out for winning NFC title games. Kyle Shanahan is the actually decent coach to called out ratio is disproportionate to reality. It really is. But this Monday, the worst of Kyle looked like it was on full display in the game that they just lost. He got way too aggressive in moments where he should have been conservative. He puckered up when he absolutely should have gone for it on 4th and goal. And when his offense generates 0 points over the course of a half, the criticism falls on him. And I will say that people have been complaining about this special teams each and every week for the better part of 2.5 seasons now. And he has addressed it with the least amount of, I'm going to do something aggressive here that you possibly could. And special teams were a big reason why they lost again yesterday. So
they scored a special teams touchdown.
They did. Super. That's great. First time in 244 games that they actually blocked and returned a punt or a kickoff or a field goal. And that's great. That's
why are you blaming them for losing? Because they mean the kicker?
because they don't know how to cover anybody on punts or kickoffs, and you got your kicker making tackles.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's fair. Though Dortch only got 1 yard on his one punt return, and DJ Dallas had a 39-yard return though, and Dortch had a 27-yard return on the kickoffs. Yeah, what about the plan of kicking the ball through the back of the end zone?
Right.
What about that plan? We got this one from BN Suave. Thank you, BN Suave. We got this one from Greg RJZ. He says, I'm from Jersey. Our media will eat Kyle up. What the fuck?
Right.
SLLL says, this team just isn't hungry anymore. It's not a super, but I thought it was an interesting comment. What do you think, Damon? Is it possible that the Niners, they paid Kittle, they paid Debo, they paid CMC, they paid Trent, they paid Aiyuk, they're on the verge of paying Purdy, they paid Bosa, they paid Mooney Ward,
did
they paid Fred.
Did they pay Christian McCaffrey without sending him to the doctors first?
Yes.
I mean, did they even do a medical exam on Christian McCaffrey to see that his now Achilles are made of rubber bands? Did they even bother?
What do you think about that, though, as far as the overall lack of hunger? Because you know what? I mean, if you want to point to – people point to that 2021 Giants team that won 107 games in baseball. That team had like 18 of their 25 guys on the opening day roster whose contract status was not determined the next year. So all those guys had the carrot dangling, and they had tons of motivation, and they went out and played with it or played like it. The Niners have taken care of a lot of guys. Maybe there's just some guys in there that are like, hey, you know what? I've got mine. I don't know. It's a decent question. Oscar says DBs cannot track the ball to save their lives. How many times is the ball floating in the air and they have no idea? Oh, I know. The Yadam on the one that was just that Michael Wilson caught that just was in the air forever. That was hard to watch.
The Marvin Harrison catch.
Yeah, the Marvin Harrison catch.
Yeah, and that was, first of all, that was one of the best pressures all day long on Kyler Murray. They were coming after him. He was retreating. His feet were backpedaling as he let the YOLO ball go because he was about to have a man in his lap. And that ball, again, hung in the air forever. And Marvin Harrison just comes down with it. Out jumps Yadam. That was the fourth and your day can end right here. 4th and 5 with 2:49 left in the game. Get off the field there, you win.
Oh, I know. Totally. The Sentinels football channel is not a super, but it's a good one here. It says, listen, Kyle has to go, and he has to go now. We will have these conversations for the next 8 years if Kyle stays. Divorce is good sometimes. I cite Doug Peterson as an example.
I would just say,
tell me who you're bringing in. I'm not going to endorse a Kyle Shanahan coup until you tell me who's replacing him.
Well, and this whole thing, like, he's got to go, and he's got to go now. Do you realize you're kicking off in Seattle in 72 hours? He's not being fired on a short week going up to Seattle. It just ain't happening.
Well, he's not going to be fired, period.
Right. He's not going to get fired. He's not getting fired.
I mean, you can wish for it. Others can wish for it. He's not going to get fired. Being Suave says Staley or Sorensen needs to go. Staley's presence may negatively be impacting Sorensen. Seems like an awkward Wilkes situation again. It's a coaching issue. And that's interesting. I mean, it's definitely awkward.
They're two minds together. Sure as hell ain't Buddy Ryan. Okay. You know, like, we're not impressed literally by the plan, much less the execution of the plan. Sometimes you can see, well, this is the right game plan. You just don't have the right guys to run it. I don't know what we're looking at defensively now, because outside of Fred Warner, all y'all look like pedestrians to me. There's one guy on this defense who, since the year kicked off, has been playing with crazy big dick energy. Maybe we can get Grant to report on that. But it's Fred Warner. That's it. It's it. He is it. He's all this team has defensively right now that you can absolutely count on. The Niners used to have a pack it up, bring it with you, always shows up defense. They don't show up at home games now. That's not good.
I wouldn't go at Grant on that. Herbie Holland says, can Purdy stop trying to be Fran Tarkenton and just throw the ball away, please? Kyle Bent says, hey, guys, I'm back. Larry, Sam's Chowder House is a great atmosphere, but best place in Half Moon Bay is the Miramar, was my favorite place growing up there. Also, Shanahan's game plan biggest issue is Mason's fumble was only one play. To me, Shanahan gets too pass happy. And that's a consistent theme. As far as Mason's fumble was only one play. Yeah, well, tell Roger Craig that, tell Roger Craig that his fumble was only one play. Sometimes fumbles cost you the game, and it did 90 and it did yesterday. Carson Taylor, any trades y'all consider making? Not Devontae Adams. Yeah, I would. I mean, what are the Niners? First of all, I probably would hold off on all trades because I may consider trading guys away if all of a sudden I bottom out. But as far as needs, yeah, I mean, I would say the 49er defensive line needs some help. And the New York Giants have Aziz Ojulari. The Jets have Hassan Reddick. There's DJ Jones, who's a defensive tackle in Denver. If any of those three guys, were available and I could make the right kind of deal, I'd probably consider it. But I'm probably holding off on making any additional trades because I don't think there's a guy out there that's going to solve their problems. And I think there's some internal answers that they could go to that might be decent. I'd like to see a bit more speed on the field. I'd like to see a little bit more of a commitment. I'd like to see a real legitimate NFL number 2 running back so that they could run the ball 40 times. It's like, if you don't have the runners to run the ball as much as you need to, then go get the runners. There's all kinds of running backs all over the place. Go get one. But right now, this idea that you're going up against one of the worst run Ds in pro football, and you're at home and you're leading the entire game, and at the end of it, you're 60-40 pass run on the, when he should have been 60-40 run pass. I don't get it. I really don't.
By the way, who had a good game for the Colts yesterday? Trey Sermon.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He put up 17 points against me in fantasy. I know that.
Wow. Yeah, Trey Sermon. Maybe he's better than we thought. Herbie Holland. All kidding and trolling aside, guys being serious for a moment, this team was never going to be good because the defense is not championship caliber. This team should be 5-0 if the defense was doing its job. They tried to remake their defensive line. To me, the one that, and I was calling for this around the draft. I was like, go draft a linebacker. You just lost a linebacker. Go draft a young, fast linebacker. In this moment right now, if you said to me, give me a move, Krug, that you would make that would improve the team. Okay, I'll tell you one right now. The Niners drafted a really good young linebacker from Florida State in the 7th round, Tatum Bethune, right? Bethune is terrific. He's not fast, not big. He's 5'11", 230, but he's a great tackling machine, and he's a good special teamer right now. I don't know if he'll ever have big-time speed, but we'll see. He has a teammate who also went undrafted, his teammate actually went undrafted. He got drafted. His teammate went undrafted. His name is Kalen DeLoach. He's a linebacker who Tampa had in camp this summer. He got injured a little bit. He's now on their practice squad. He runs 4.4. He's incredibly fast. He's not 250 pounds. He's more like 220, 215. But this is a speed game on the back end. It's a rush and cover game on defense. What you get done with your front 4 is your rush. What you can do with your back 7 is your coverage. And the Niner coverage is just not good enough. They miss the speed and the ferociousness of Dre Greenlaw. Now, ferociousness, you're not going to be able to find. Speed is sitting right there on Tampa's practice squad. Cut Devondre Campbell, go sign Kalen DeLoach, add a 4.4 linebacker, subtract a 4.7 linebacker, and you'll see how much faster you get. They need to think outside the box. They need to think personnel changes here. They really do.
Or
and that's the first one.
How about that?
Or D. Winters if he's healthy.
How about not even bothering looking at anyone on Tampa Bay's practice squad and use guys on your team who are faster than Devondre Campbell, who is a bum, straight up bum.
But I'm just saying, Campbell needs to be cut. Yes. I don't think Campbell can just be benched. Right. Campbell will be so negative in that room if they bench him for these kids that you'll wish that you cut him. So just cut him. Just cut him, eat it, go get somebody else who can run. It's the best move you can make. Heather Taylor says, same players. Why are they not getting separation? Is it the scheme? Can Kyle Shanahan scheme them open? They're same players. That's like we're going to be having the same conversation about the Warriors in 3 weeks. I don't get it. Why are the Warriors bad? It's the same players because players get old. Steph's getting old. Draymond's getting old. They're getting old. That's why they're not going to be able to do it as well. And that's the same thing here. Kittle is a run through you. Debo's a run through you. JJ's a run through you. They've chosen run through you people. The run around you guys were supposed to be Cowing and CMC. They're not out there. So now they've got a bevy of weapons that all run through you. They need more speed. That's why I would take Terrace Marshall, who runs in the 4.3s, and is bigger than Ronnie Bell, and put him out there and throw the ball down the field and have a complimentary receiver instead of a redundant part. But no, it's like Lynch drafted him in the 6th round. They have some investment there. It's like, dude, every single guy on the roster is a guy that you put on the roster. So why show favoritism?
Football players age like dog years. They really do.
And
it's just a brutal game. And the guy that you had last year and the guy that you get this year really doesn't matter how much in shape Debo came into camp. He is a shadow of who he used to be. A shadow. Seriously, right now, like you can say, so trade Debo for who, for what? Who is picking up that at $28 million a year? I don't even think you can get a 5th rounder for Debo Samuel.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right. It's more of an emotional thing than anything. Valentina Lunas has just wanted to show some love. Yesterday sucked, but remaining optimistic. Thanks for the hard work, keeping me posted. Thank you, Valentina. Niner faithful, win or lose.
So, Valentina, since we're going to paint in the colors of positivity right here, there are only a handful of teams that are 4-1 or better at this point in the year. Played 5 games. Even good teams are 3-2 or 2-3 around this league right now. There is so much football still left to be played this year. The 49ers can 100% still win 10, 11 games and still go to the playoffs. All of that is still available to them.
They should win the division.
But the road to that being a reality is starting to crumble right underneath their feet. And should they lose in Seattle, yeah, but someone's like, if they win in Seattle, to be right in first place again. Okay, and that's good. And that's good. The West is not what it used to be. So that's good for them. If they lose in Seattle, they're 0-3 in the division and 0-4 in the conference. That is a tough hole to climb out of. At that point, you are no longer dictating your own season. You need things to happen around you that help you get back, not into the driver's seat, but just into the front row. I mean, that's where the 49ers right now are still in a car heading towards the playoffs, but they're in the back seat. They are not driving. They are not in the passenger seat. Sometimes
it's better to be in the back seat. You got more time to do other things. Valentina,
hold on, Larry.
Pound it.
I'm just saying, some of the best road trips I ever had in college, I was in the back seat. Valentina, that's a beautiful name, by the way. Fuji Simeon is also a very nice name, but not quite as nice as Valentina. Thoughts on the potential new media rules and changes? There really isn't any new media rules or changes.
I think they're coming.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you saw the posting of Juice posted that. I mean, this is the people that run the league want the media in there, but I think it will be traded at some point for the 18th game or the 20th game. Eventually, it'll probably be traded, but I think everybody benefits from the media coverage that comes out of the locker room. I think the league benefits. I think the teams benefit. I think the players benefit. I think the media benefits, and I don't think it's going to change. But right now, the players, if the players want to talk to you outside the locker room, they can say, "Hey, we'll talk outside the locker room," and that's fine. That's fine. And if they choose that, then we'll do interviews outside the locker room. And but for the most part, I think these new rules went into effect. I was in the locker room this week talking to a number of players, and they didn't want to go in the hallway because it takes more time to go out in the hallway. I think it's going to be, I don't want to say much ado about nothing, but I don't think there'll be dramatic changes.
It's about being professional, letting professionals in the room. There are a lot of people who really don't have professionalism attached to them who are allowed to operate in the orbit around sports now. So that's a reality. What media needs is access to players. I don't think that access has to come in front of a locker while a guy's wearing a towel, while his teammates are
but
around
it's not good what the NBA is doing right now. Like, you were at the NBA thing. Did you get to ask Steph Curry a question? No. Somebody else did. And it's like, stop evaluating. Like the Warriors have, like, you're a tier 1. So, and it's like, well, wait a second. If you're financially controlling everybody in tier 1, then technically you have a financial overhand or control over all of the people that are critiquing your coach and your players. And that's a little too much control in my mind for true independence. I'd rather them do what the Niners do, which is they have a press conference, they have a gigantic auditorium, and all the press can go in there. And I don't care if you're Bob from the Prague Gazette, or if you're, working for ESPN and you're, talking to millions of people every night, you're Scott Van Pelt or something, the host of a sports. It doesn't matter. You all are in the same room and you can ask questions. In the NBA, it's like, no. Cyrus, you will not ask a question. But wait a second. Monty, you want to ask 5? Go for it. Right. Slater, you want to ask 7? Go for it. And it's like, that's fine if the people getting 7 questions are truly independent. But if the team has a financial relationship with the media people that are allowed to ask questions, now you're not really getting an independent questioner. You're getting a bought and paid for exercise. So it's just a matter of what do you want, right? Simple as that.
I mean, look, I know people who do the job well. We all know people who do the job poorly. Everyone gets scored collectively together as a group. It would be nice if the group's average ticked up a little bit. And there were, what I like about a media setting is, so I wanted to ask a question. Oh, Matt Mayoko just asked the question that I wanted to ask, but I heard it and I got the answer, and we don't need to go over old ground. Players get sick and tired of asking the same stupid, empty questions like, how did today feel?
That's what happens in the media scrum, because you can't get there, right? So there's people on the outside, and I guarantee you players get asked the same question repeated that they already answered, because they're not in a auditorium. I kind of like the auditorium because at least everybody can get access to all of it.
Right.
And the audio is perfect.
If you are going to cut locker room access, there is no more, only 2 more questions going on in the media locker room. No. Everyone gets to empty the clip question-wise if you're going to put them behind a lectern.
Yeah. No, I agree. Big Dad says, if you notice, Shanny's game plan is the opposite of what beat their opponent the week before. He thinks he's the smartest guy in the room.
I think he got
he has gotten too cute. I mean, they were running the hell out of the ball, and then they came out against, was it the Rams with 3 straight passes, whatever, or was it the next week? Ricardo Rodriguez says, is Campbell the best option? Purdy throwing the ball away. DC called out by Bosa not being able to adjust. Kyle Shanahan stop playing scared and be aggressive and get touchdowns. Kyle Shanahan mindset should be, who gives a fuck? I have to show you this because this is big. This. I can't believe I haven't shown you this yet, actually, because this was a big one. Kev had this one. Did you see this, Damon? This is, to me, the biggest soundbite.
Kevin Krueger, great content. So, but I might have missed this.
Okay, so check this out. This is what Kev tweeted yesterday. This is Bosa. Listen to Bosa here. This is very interesting. Listen to what Bosa says.
Yeah. And Connor had like 12, 14 yards before their last two drives, and he had 72. Were they doing anything differently with him?
They were giving us a different look on the zone read, and I think in all of our losses, the preparation we've had has been great, but teams are playing us different and doing things differently, and we need to adjust a little better. Just showing different looks and kind of than what we were looking at on tape. So just got to adjust and get them down.
So, different looks on the zone read runs, and that we need to adjust better. And he sounds like he's pointing the finger there at the defensive coordinator. Is he not? Am I hearing something I shouldn't be hearing?
No, I mean, I think
am I reading that wrong?
What we're preparing for is not what we're seeing. It's hard to prepare for things that I guess you haven't seen before. Maybe this team needs to start imagining what they might be facing more than just practicing against last week's game plan. I don't know. I really
different look in the zone read, and we didn't adjust to it fast enough, and that does sound like he's calling out the coordinator.
It does a little bit. At the same time, make a fucking tackle. It's James Conner running off a block. I don't.
Here's the other thing. I mean, I don't want to get harsh on Bosa here because Bosa's a great player, but dude, you were the defensive player of the year in the league. I just watched T.J. Watt last night. You ain't T.J. Watt.
Not even close.
I watched Aiden Hutchinson the other night. You're not Aiden Hutchinson.
He's not.
You're not.
You're not. T.J. Watt. He's not Herbig.
Nick Bosa had one pressure, as in we'd have to share it if it was on this show.
He had just been a menace the week before too. So
yeah, he had 9 the week before.
These up and down games got to go away in the name of consistency week in, week out. Larry, I got about 15 minutes before. I mean, I got an 11 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I got to jump too because I got Dave Softy Mahler coming up at 11 for a little taped deal. We're taping it. Nicholas Parra in the house says the 4th down conversion by Murray was the dagger. I thought the Murray scramble was pretty much the dagger. Fuji Simeon says you didn't put a dryer sheet in the dryer. Divorce.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things aren't going the way I thought they were going to go. I thought there was going to be a bounce in the dryer. I saw no bounce. It's time for me to bounce.
I thought it was Snuggles. It's bounce. I'm out.
Oh, what? John Kalu, big fan of the Krueger and Bruce show. I'm not saying fire Kyle, but team failure lands on Kyle. It does. The team at times looks unfocused and undisciplined. It's fair. Carson Taylor's Super Bowl hangover is real. Gosh, hate to say it, but that's
normally the Super Bowl hangover comes after you win a Super Bowl. By the way,
By the way, I had a Super Bowl hangover as well, but I got rid of it. I got rid of it by February 15th. I was better. Fuji Simeon says, thank you, too, for staying above the 49er content creator feuds. Some people are going at each other on X or calling people out recently on X and YouTube. Look, I'll say this. I have a big mouth. I give a lot of opinions. I'll say it for Damon. He's got a big mouth. He gives lots of opinions. We try to be credible as we possibly can be. I got 4 kids and a mortgage. I don't have enough time to call, get into these battle royales with content creators about anything, to be honest.
Well, when you can especially see when they're rooted in pettiness and personal grievances, and it's just there's a lot of people out there walking around in clown shoes. There's no doubt.
The airing of grievances. Come on Friday. He says, as off as Brock looked, the D-line still gave up a lead. Yeah.
4th and 5, 2:49 left in the game. Get off there, win the game. They didn't.
Yeah. They had 10 defensive linemen up. 10. Niners had 10 defensive linemen up. Those 10 defensive linemen combined for 1 sack and 2 quarterback hits. And actually, it was all Leonard Floyd. So you had 9 defensive linemen who did nothing, and then Leonard Floyd.
Bosa's interception was fantastic, though. It really was. That was a hell of a play.
1 interception, 1 pressure. Steven Draper, defensive coordinator, went 0 blitz on 4th and 5. No criticism from Kyle. Did he go 0 blitz on 4th and 5? I got to redo my rewatch.
Yeah, I don't know about that 0, but I tell you what, they were almost on top of Murray when Murray let that thing go backpedaling. It was a YOLO ball, and normally YOLO balls don't hurt you. This one did.
Jay Greasy, I'd like to rein in my wonderful 49er community and just say that we're focusing, quote, all over the place. And what's evident to me is that ball security is our main issue in yesterday's loss. Yeah, you got to take care of the ball. I mean, the bottom line is you can outplay your opponent. If you're negative on the turnover margin, you got a chance to lose.
Nobody's talking about Kyle Shanahan getting out coached if Jordan Mason holds on to a ball, they score a touchdown there, they're up, and they win.
Yeah, what were they up 2 right there? They would have gone up 9.
Right.
Yeah, so 2 scores. It would have been ball game probably. Oli Chaos is nut check time. The vibe is paid players. The vibe is paid players slacking. Ooh.
Well, that's the thing. The guys who are making the most amount of money are not making the most amount of impact on the field right now. And that needs to happen. Like I said, it was really good to see at least Brandon Aiyuk shake himself out of the funk.
Paddlefoot. By the way, I'm bypassing Oli Chaos' second one on Grant. Do not bang. Do not bang on Grant for that. Paddlefoot says, kicker, what's out there? Any info on that? I mean, I could look up the kickers and we could go free agent kickers. You will have heard of a couple of them, I'm sure. Randy Bullock, I think, is out there. He's one of the names. Gizmo Maltese says, I was not surprised they lost. I expected it. They're not a good team. The O and the D line are just not good. We only beat the Jets and the Pats. It's a down year. I mean, that's the other thing, dude. I mean, when do we look up and just go, hey, you know what? They beat the horrible Jets and the offensively challenged Patriots, and that's it. Maybe the Niners aren't as good as we think.
And the measurably bad Los Angeles Rams got 1 win all year, and it's against the 49ers.
And you just lost to the Cardinals, who a rookie quarterback hung 42 on the week prior. Harry Johnson, yes, said trade for Reddick or re-sign Gibson. If his suspension is up, we need a spark. I don't think Tayshaun Gibson's the answer. Reddick, it could help. Herbie Holland, you're right, Larry. The days of Patrick Willis or Mike Singletary are over. Most teams have incredibly fast linebackers. Need on defense. Speed, not hitters. Yes. Seriously, I'm telling you, this Kalen DeLoach is a 4.47 guy. They need to stop their thinking. The Niners actually were on the cutting edge of this. The Niners were the team that had 220-pound linebackers when other teams had 250-pound linebackers. And now the 220-pound linebacker is prevalent all over the league. This Seattle just drafted Tyrese Knight out of UTEP. He's 220 pounds, but he's super fast linebacker, and he's making an impact. Go find some linebacker speed. Cut Devondre Campbell. You can have DeLoach tomorrow. He's quite a bit faster. He's buddies with Bethune. I'd make that move. I wouldn't even think twice. Eamon report, I think that it's time to make Clay Kubiak the offensive coordinator. Well, is it time for Kyle to give up play calling to somebody else if he's burnt out? Maybe he needs help. I mean, maybe that's not a crazy question.
I mean, but then you got Kyle. Then you got Kyle talking about how bored he is when he's not calling plays. So I don't know.
He could devise the plays, but maybe their game planning and their indecision game, decision making would be better if Kyle had more time to devote to that and less time to devote to the sequencing of the plays. I mean, you're already designing the plays. Let somebody else decide which play goes when. I mean, I don't know. It's just an idea. Digital Drew says, thanks for being my football buds. I tried talking to the wife about the traps of the wide nine, but she just stares blankly. Call-in show soon. Yeah, it's funny you said that, Drew. Kev and I are going to do a call-in show, I think, on Wednesday. We haven't done a call-in show in a while just because I've been streaming with Paulie Mack and Dieter and all these guys, and trying to help Paulie get rolling and, just streaming. And Kev was busy there for a while, but we'll do the call-in show starting on Wednesday.
We got to invite Paulie Mack in for a wake-up, Larry. He used to do a lot of mornings around these parts. He should do one with us.
You know what? What do you think of Paulie joining us Friday morning after Niners Seahawks? Because he normally joins me, Damon, during the week, like Wednesday, Thursday night. And, we're going to have the game on Thursday night. What do you think? Maybe I'll invite him for Friday morning.
Tell him to bring the guitar and come up with a song for us, because we might need one.
We might need one. That'll be fun, though. That'll be fun on Friday morning. All right, that's going to do it for us. You got a final thought, Damon, before we bolt for the door?
Don't lose in Seattle.
Please.
Don't lose in Seattle. That's my final thought. You lose in Seattle, what is already looking hard to come back from gets a lot harder to come back from. This is put the pedal down time right now. Everything that you needed to do before you got to the gauntlet, you didn't do it. So the margin of error has basically been removed from the 49ers season. From this point on, they needed to look 4-1-ish or 5-0 in their first 5 weeks. They're 2-3. 2-3 is not the death sentence that some people are portraying it as. I still think, Larry, they're going to win 10 games. Everyone who's saying the Niners are trash, they're a bad team. There's a lot that doesn't remind you of how good the Niners were when they were going to Super Bowls, but they're not trash. Go ahead. Look at Carolina. That's trash. There are bad football teams. The Niners are a middling team right now, and hopefully have enough time to go from the middle back to the top before you get caught out of the middle and you start descending. But the time to start not fucking up is officially here. That doorbell has been rung. Ding dong, quit fucking up. That's where they are.
We got this one from Amen Report. A loss to Seattle means John Lynch should field offers for Debo and Mooney Ward. Yeah, but I agree with Damon. I don't think with what you paid Debo.
What are you getting for him? 6th rounder?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get a lot. And Alexander Boy Entertainment says over 600 watching. Try close to $2,000. Over only 150 likes. So if everybody could hit like and subscribe, that would really help everybody. Hit like. More people will find the shows in the algorithm. Hit subscribe. And every time we go live, you'll get that notification. Thanks to Sam's Chowder House for sponsoring us. There they are on the patio. Oh, my God. Look at that. Look at that
If
seafood.
there was ever a place to drive a Miata to, it was Sam's Chowder House. It's a small car, so it's easy to park in a very tight parking lot. But, it really works.
Look at that. Again, that Chipino goes for it on 4th and goal every single time. Sam's Chatterhouse is fantastic. Larry, we need to make plans to get down there soon. Thank you so much to Sam's. Thanks to everyone who watched this stream across both channels. Make sure you give the guy some love on the other side, and throw a like, a subscribe to both Larry and I. And thank you very much. And we will be back. This week's going to go by in a blink of an eye. Thursday night is going to be here in 15 minutes. So it's going to be a fun week and a week full of stress, baby. Let's do it.
Yep, absolutely. Have a great day, everybody. Join me at 6:00 tonight on KMBR for a little Niners Nightly. We're going to open up the phone lines and have you have your say. Also, join me at 12:30 today with Papa and Lund. I'll be on with Greg and Johnny on KMBR this afternoon. So have a great morning, everybody. Keep the faith, Niner fans. All is not lost. Peace.